Hi guys, it's Leo, and today I'm going to be talking about racial pressures. Ting's already touched on so many things that I wanted to say, and I'm going to add on to that as well as telling the story from my perspective, just because we come from really similar situations, and I really related to everything he said. To get started, I think one of the main pressures in Taiwanese or Asian culture is this idea of there's a very set idea of how you're meant to live your life, and this culture of, again, as Ting said, conformity, and that their idea of success and how to achieve happiness is directly related to how you go on this path of getting a career that gives you a stable and high income, marrying a man that can look after your kids, or just set into those gender stereotypes and live a normal life. There's not a lot of focus on the actual life experiences that you have in that time, and the focus is on just achieving those steps. But my parents, I think, are really different, again, to a lot of the more traditional Asian parents, as per se. They're very progressive people, I think, and it really surprises me when some of the things they say do come out of that really traditional Asian parent mentality. And I think they still have that. It's in their fundamentals. They're brought up in a culture to think that way. And no matter how much they try to come off as not being that stereotype, the way they think still comes out of that place a little bit. So, I didn't upload a video last week because I was feeling really not up for it. In fact, I think right now I'm in a really unstable place emotionally, and just having a really rough time dealing, mainly because of the trans thing, because I've been waiting and years and years, and I've got like thumbs up to get tea, and I got everything organized years ago, and I'm still where I was all those years ago in terms of my medical transition, and it's become really frustrating, and it's no longer something that I really want. It feels like something that I need, that I just can't live without and have a normal functioning life without. So yeah, a lot of you probably can sympathize. There are all these factors that are stopping me from getting it, and they're not things that I can fight directly, because mainly it's my family, and they're not arguing against me, because their stance is that they have this set idea of how I should live my life, in from a place of love, and that's really hard to fight. And and basically this isn't really on topic, but right now I'm trying to just gather resources for them to understand. And I just couldn't find any Chinese resources, so I actually contacted the LGBT hotline in Taiwan, and I painfully typed up this really crappy email in Chinese asking them for any resources or help, Chinese resources. Now I'm waiting on that. The other day was the first time I spoke to my parents about trans issues again, and my mom said something that I was really shocked. It's just what she wishes for me and my sisters. It's just for us to be normal and live a normal life and never do things that will kind of set us apart from the norm, because that's so much more difficult. And she thinks that it directly being normal like correlates to being how happy you're gonna be. She said, I don't even want you to be really successful or anything, I just want you to be normal. It's really funny because I just came back from Taiwan, and it was the first time I've been back for 2 years. And in that trip back, it was the first time I really felt like I didn't belong there anymore. I was a complete outsider. And all the cultural differences was just glaringly obvious to me that time, and it was so interesting to kind of observe that culture that I never realized was so different to what it is in Australia. Didn't really mention, I don't know if he's aware, but Taiwanese culture has evolved heaps and heaps. It's kind of like separated into two sides. There's the old traditional values, and one of them is kind of the modern youth culture there, which is kind of trying to rebel against that. It's become a lot more progressive. But there is definitely that culture that is just conform to this lifestyle, and everybody, when you look around, you don't really see individuals, you don't see people with their own styles. Everybody looks like they were cut out, and they're all part of a group. Living yourself as an individual person and discovering yourself through life isn't that much of a priority. One thing that really, really surprised me was the amount of lesbians I saw. And what's very interesting about that is, from observing these couples, it's just really interesting how much gender roles are still being played out, and so stereotypical in Asian culture. Basically, in a lesbian couple, there's always one, the more butch one, which is called the T, the tomboy, and the femme one. And basically, the T is expected to take on all the male roles of the boyfriend, basically. When I first came out, I think my parents really didn't understand where I was coming from, just because they think I'm not that masculine and that I wasn't trans enough, basically. And why I would want top surgery but I wouldn't want bottom surgery. All these ideas they have of gender, that really huge part of Asian culture that focuses so much on image, reputation, what other people think. Basically, all I had to add on in conjunction with Ting's video. And I will see you next week, hopefully, if I'm feeling up for it. I'm kind of like forcing myself to make this video right now, because I've just been like so anxious. Social anxiety is through the roof just because of how uncomfortable I am with everything right now, and looking for a job and putting myself out there. It's so difficult when you're trans and not on T. But yeah, see you guys.